maybe embarrassment just means you care too much what people think about you. Because why else would you be embarrassed? Why would you be embarrassed if you created something? Why would you be embarrassed if you told someone how you felt and then they didn't feel the same way? Usually that has something to do with what people think about you. And maybe perfectionism. Maybe that's something. What does the word embarrassment mean? Let's look up the definition. Embarrassment. Something that embarrasses. Thank you very much. I love when a definition says the word in its definition. It's like, thank you. That was so helpful. Let's look at what embarrass means. To cause to experience a state of self-conscious distress. To place in doubt, perplexity, or difficulties, to involve in financial difficulties. To cause to experience a state of self-conscious distress. What does self-conscious mean? Conscious of one's own acts or states as belonging to or originating in oneself. Aware of oneself as an individual. Intensely aware of oneself. Uncomfortably conscious of oneself as an object of the observation of others. I feel like self-conscious is actually itself not a negative word, although I feel like we've prescribed this weird negativity to it because the definition says conscious of one's own acts or states as belonging to or originating in oneself. You're just like aware, basically. You're conscious of yourself. But I feel like it's changed with the culture. It's changed with the tide. Self-conscious now means like embarrassed and like insecure. What does insecure mean? Well, I'm on Webster dictionary. Merriam-Webster. Insecure, deficient in assurance, beset by fear and anxiety, not highly stable or well adjusted, not confident or sure, uncertain, unsafe, not adequately guarded or sustained, unsafe. Not firmly fastened or fixed, shaky. I do like the word insecure because, well, for the most part, we use it in that way of like, we're insecure of ourselves for some reason. We feel like, But really it's rooted in this idea of not being stable, not highly stable or well adjusted, not confident or sure. But I like that definition, the fourth one that says not firmly fastened or fixed, shaky. You're shaky. Well, that's exactly it though, because if you're insecure, you're not secure. You're not secure, firmly fixed in who you are, your personality, your identity, your quirks and charms and personality traits and all the things. You're not secure in yourself. So when you're not secure in yourself and you're very aware of yourself, you're self-conscious, if you do something that you feel like is seen as weird or negative in the eyes of someone else, you basically judge yourself for it and feel embarrassed by it. I don't even know where this train of thought came from. I was thinking about, I talked about the fear of being cringe recently, and that just made me think about this idea of like embarrassment, because that's really what it is. If you're feeling like you're cringy or you're scared that you're going to be perceived as cringy, it's really just because you're like scared you're going to be embarrassed. But what do you have to be embarrassed about? And I also was thinking about perfectionism and how I've beat that thing into the dirt. But sometimes it still comes up. It's like a little monster over my shoulder, like speaking into my ears, telling me like, be perfect. Be perfect. You're supposed to be perfect. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Actually, am I? Am I? No, because there's this idea of perfection in the Bible, but this idea of perfection is more about completeness, which I really like. The word perfect in the Bible is about like being complete and whole, being perfected, being perfect, being a complete whole you know? So I think in a way, I am called to be perfect, but like in a biblical sense and in a different way. I feel like perfectionism, another definition. Let's look up perfectionism, because what does that actually mean? Actually, let's look up perfect in the dictionary. Being entirely without fault or defect, flawless, satisfying all requirements, accurate, expert, proficient, like practice makes perfect, pure, total, lacking in no essential detail, complete. I feel like that's the biblical sense of the word. Pure, total, complete. I love that definition of perfect. But this idea of being without flaws, being entirely without fault or defect, it's just like, we are human after all. Okay, perfectionism defined is the doctrine that the perfection of moral character constitutes a person's highest good. What? What does that mean? The second one says the theological doctrine that a state of freedom from sin is attainable on earth. Wow, perfectionism defined is not exactly what I was thinking it would be. Because I feel like when I talk about perfectionism, it's like not that. Okay, hold on. Well, okay, I think it's the second one. There's a second definition that says a disposition to regard anything short of perfection as unacceptable. The first one really like confused me. Okay, I'm starting to understand it now. I think upon first reading it, that was confusing. The second definition, I think, is more of what I'm talking about. A disposition to regard anything short of perfection as unacceptable. The more I'm talking about this, the more I'm thinking like perfection is not a bad thing to strive for, because I think when you think about it in a biblical sense, and you also think about the fact that God is the one who helps to perfect you from the inside out. Like he renews your mind. He renews your mind and your heart and your soul, and he is the one that perfects you. Like it's not like it's both. It's both. It's both him doing it in you and also you choosing those things which are good and perfect, you know. I don't know if that makes sense. You feel me? You feel me? So like, yeah, I guess my original question was, why do we feel like we need to be embarrassed? Embarrassment is really just rooted in the fear of being cringe, the fear of being seen a certain way by other people. It's fear. That's what it is. Fear. I'm thinking about all the many, many, many times in my life that I've been embarrassed. God bless. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of times, I think. Like, I used to be embarrassed if I, like, sucked at bowling. If I sucked at bowling when I was learning how to ride my bike when I was a kid, I was so embarrassed. And then I got angry because I was like, why can't I do this? And why does everyone else know how to do it? Although it's like when I look back at that, I'm like, when I was a little girl learning how to ride her bike, my sister and her friends in our neighborhood, they were like 5 years older than me. So of course they know how to ride a bike. I'm like younger than them. And then one of my other friends down the road was he was the same age as me, but he was a boy. And boys are, I think, sometimes more prone to like risk taking, and like they're more into cars and trucks and stuff like that. Like he already learned how to ride his bike. So I was like the last one. And I was a girl. I was just a little girl. And I felt so embarrassed. I was like, why does everyone else know how to do this? And I don't. Oh my God. Sorry. My dad. My dad is working out in the garage below me, and he sometimes gets very into the music that he's listening to, and that was just so loud. Oh my God. Help. No, but I was so embarrassed about the fact that I didn't know how to ride this bike. Why was that? I'm trying to think, why was I so embarrassed? I just felt like I should have known how to do it already. Although that's definitely a trait that I've had through my life. That's a common theme of feeling like I should know how to do something the first time I do it, and I should know how to do it right and do it perfectly without ever having to fail. And yeah, I feel like that's that desire to want to just do something right the first time. Oh my God. Sorry if you can just hear background noise. But that desire to want to do something right on the first try is, I think, a desire to, where was I going with that? A desire to like bypass the the trial and the error and the period of time of trying and failing. I don't want to have to fail. I just want to be good at everything the first time I do it. So I feel like it's that, maybe. But yeah, I'm just thinking where I'm at in my life now. I'm more mature, I'm older, and I'm just like, I don't want to be embarrassed about myself. And I don't know. Although I don't feel that I'm dealing with as much embarrassment now. But this idea just came to mind. So I wanted to talk about it, but I don't feel like I deal with as much embarrassment as I once did. And if it does come up now, I'm just like, why am I feeling this? Like, I don't need to feel this. I just need to like be confident in who I am and how I am, my voice, my quirks, my personality traits, and just like roll with it. So really, it's like we have nothing to be embarrassed about, right? Maybe there's some things worth to be embarrassed about. Maybe there's some things. I don't know. All right. I'm going to go because there's major background noise. There's major just like music and vibing going on in the garage downstairs, and I got to go. So I'm going to go. Bye.